So hi everyone, welcome to Electronics Techie. So this is the another video related to the CMOS. So in previous thing we discussed about the brief history of electronics. If you anyone don't watch that, so go through that one. So it is the basic thing you have to know as a core student. Okay. So the today topic is like classification of electronics components. So as electronic students, you have to know what are the components which are going to use to design the circuit. So what are the components inside the design, inside the circuit? What are the things we are going to use in our daily life? So you have to know what are the components, what are the things inside, how they are going to be designed, what is the basic things. So you have to know. So you have to know the components which are present in the device. Okay. So for that thing, here I ask AI. So classification of electronic components. So I ask AI for what is the different type of components present in the electronics background. Okay, then it gives this picture. Okay, let's see. I know someone, but it will give so many of things. So okay, every time. So there is a technology. So how to use that for our improvement in the knowledge. Okay. So what are the known things is only 0. Not 1% only. Unknown things are so many. So try to develop more things and try to know more things. Okay. While you are learning. Okay. So here see electronic components. Mainly we know about the passive components. So passive components and then one minute. So see here active components. So you know about the passive components and active components. So in that, I will minimize a little bit. So in passive components, observe here, what are the things here? Resistor. So what are the passive components? There is some classification in the electronic components. There are some different types. So passive components, active components. In next, after this classification, I will explain what is the definition of the passive, what is the definition of active. Okay. Now simply understand the different types of components which are present. Okay. In passive component, again they are divided into the three types: resistor, capacitor, and inductor. So again, resistor is divided into fixed resistor, means fixed value. Variable resistor means according to our requirement, we are going to vary the value of the resistor, thermistors, photoresistors. These are different types of resistors. Again, capacitor, they are ceramic, electrolyte, tantalum, film. So many of types of capacitors are there. Inductors are also air core, iron core, ferrite core, transformer. So many of things will present in the inductors also. Next, coming to the active components, they are also divided into four types: diodes, transistors, integrated circuits, and transistors. So in previous means what are the history we are discussed in those video also we are discussed about diodes, transistors, integrated circuits. Okay, so those are the active components. So which can amplify the signals, which can generate the power to the circuit. So these active components are done the provide the power to the circuit. We will discuss the definitions. Okay, from now there is a classification. In diodes, they are the rectifiers, GNR diode, LED diode, Schottky diode, photodiode, pin diode, tunnel diode. So many type of diodes are there. Transistor, BJT, FET, MOSFET, JFET. So many of the things in the transistors also. Coming to the integrated circuits, analog IC, digital IC, microprocessor, microcontrollers, memory IC, so many of things. So like that here also different types of transistors in active components. So coming to the another part of the electronic components. So most probably everyone know these components only. So behind these, there are other components also. Let's see what are those ones. So electromechanical components like switches, relays. So wait, I will erase this thing. It will maybe disturbance for us. Okay. Hmm. There is a electromechanical components and there are switches. Electromechanical components are like switches. We are using switches, relays, connectors, so many of things. So in switches also toggle, push button, rotary, dip. So I will post this picture in my LinkedIn profile. So if anyone want this picture, so comment for LinkedIn like that. I will share you the LinkedIn profile link in the comment section. So another components are the optoelectrical components. So means LEDs and displays. We are using displays for display something in our railway stations are so many things we are going to display. So that type of display systems we are going to use this optoelectric components. Okay. electronic components. And there are power components, means voltage regulators. According to the voltage fluctuations, you want some proper connection, means proper voltage, constant voltage. Then use the voltage regulators, batteries, fuses. We are going to use those are all the power components. And next one is the sensor and transmitter. So how can I say that temperature sensor, pressure sensor, motion sensor. So all the sensor is coming to the sensor components. Okay. So these are the different categories of the electronic components. So if anyone asks, directly we say passive component, active component. So you have to say these type of unknown components which to the other. So everyone know passive components and active components. They simply say what is the difference between you and others. So what is the knowledge difference? So have in the place of say everything, every noticeable thing, then only it will be a good electronic student. So you can, when you are going to be electronic student, you have to know something new, something unique than others. Okay, so try to learn every pinch and everything while you are going to learn. Okay, these are the different types of electronic components. Okay, the classification is completed. So then after these, I will ask some few questions to AI. So these they give some clarification regarding this. Okay. So let's see what the questions I ask, what the answers it gives. So see here, I will ask, give some detailed explanation about active and passive components. So for mostly electronic, in this VLSI field, we use active and passive components very much widely. Okay. So that's why we have to know the definition and what is the functionality, everything you have to know. So that's why I particularly mentioned these two for detailed explanation. Okay. So what it will give? So see, active and passive components are the two fundamental blocks. So what are the things I will mention here? So active components and passive components I have mentioned here. So how it will say, let's see. So active and passive components are the two fundamental building blocks of the electronic circuit. So what are the devices we are using nowadays? So all are built with these active and passive components only. And they differ in how they interact with electricity. But how they are going to be differ means what is the difference between the active and passive is like by how they are going to interact means how the energy is going to be used by these two things. So that will differ these two components. So if one of the components consuming the energy, another one is generating the energy. So like that, what is the usage of the electronic energy? That depends on this difference in the components. Okay, so coming to the passive components, doesn't require external power to operate and can't amplify the signals. So what the passive component defines? So doesn't require external power. So it don't require any external power. So it didn't want any external power to run the device like that. So and then the thing is it can't amplify the signal. So when you speak slowly, so the only same voice is going to be done but through this passive components. So it can't amplify the things. Okay. So next one is can't amplify. It can't amplify the signals. Okay. Next point. So they can only store, dissipate or release energy. So what is the use of this passive component means they can store the energy. When you give the any type of electrical energy, so it is going to be stored or dissipate. So it will produce the means it will consume the energy or release energy. So it will release the energy. So that's already in the circuit. So which is present in the circuit. So if it is a circuit, so if it is already present in the circuit, what is the energy which is present inside the circuit? That is going to be consumed or dissipate or release. Okay. So that things is going to be done by the passive components. So what is the use of the storage means? So nowadays you can see that storaging bulb. So what does the capacitor do? It will store the energy. So inside that bulb we use the capacitor. So whenever the power is on, we are going to store the energy in that capacitor. So if the power is off, what will happen? So the storage energy is going to be discharged and it is used to generate some light energy until from few hours. Okay. So like that, that is the use of to store the energy for the further requirement. Okay. So think of them energy managers rather than the energy creators. So this can manage the energy. So what is the energy which is present inside these components? So they can manage, like they can dissipate, they can use like that. Sorry. So but they can't create any type of energy, can't generate any type of energy, can't amplify the signals. Okay, this is mean by the passive components. So next one, resistor control current flow by converting electrical energy into the heat. So resistor can control the energy. So resistor symbol is seems like this. So what will resistor do? So resistor can control the flow of electricity. So we know that resistance is nothing but oppose of current. Okay, so resistor control the current flow. Like in which way? Electrical energy into the heat. So it convert electrical energy into the, so resistor done electrical energy into heat energy. So like that it can oppose the flow of current, flow of electrons. Okay, they are used for current limiting. So if there is a over current, so you have to limit that current. So for that purpose we are using particular resistor and proper resistor, voltage division and biasing other components. So all this purpose we are going to use this resistors. Okay, capacitors store energy in an electric field and are crucial for filtering timing circuits and blocking DC while passing AC signals. So while capacitor, what is the use of the capacitor? It can store the energy, and while the AC energy is going to be passed inside the circuit, it can block the DC energy. Okay, so there is a some advantage by blocking DC. We will discuss in further classes, but just remember while going the AC signal, so it will block the DC signals. Okay, inductors store energy in a magnetic field and resist change in current, making them essential for filtering energy storage in power supplies and RF applications. So what is the uses of inductor? So what it is going to be done? So what is the inductor purpose is like? So it store the energy in magnetic field. So capacitor what will done? Electrical field. It store energy in electrical field. What is the purpose of inductors? It can store the energy in magnetic field. Okay. So it can oppose the sudden change in the voltage of current. So means voltage fluctuations is coming there in our while in our daily utensils. So how to reduce that sudden change. Okay, so that time you can going to use this inductors. So these are some type of passive components and the definition of the passive component. So again we will discuss about the passive component definition. So passive component is nothing but it doesn't require any external power. It can't amplify the signals. So it only consume or dissipate or store the energy in the what it have. So means what is the energy which have present in the circuit, that only be reused by the circuit only. It can't produce any new type of energy. So that is the definition of the passive component. And these resistor, capacitor, inductor are the basic passive components. You have to explain like this. Okay. So coming to the active components, need an external power source to function and can amplify. So active components need some external power. Okay. So wait, I will erase these all things which are discussed in previous. Now we'll discuss about active components. Okay. Active components. So coming to the active components, it needs an external power. So it needs an external power to amplify the signal. So for the functionality of the signal, which are generate the electrical signals. For any purpose, the active component needs some external power. Without any external power, it can't do anything. Okay. Diodes allow current to flow in only one direction. So the diodes, transistors, ICs, all are comes into the ICs, transistor, diodes. This is the transistor symbol. Okay. Don't think this is something different. I am little bit less knowledge related to drawing. So it may be some clumsy. Okay. So it is a transistor. So in diode allow the current to flow in only one direction. So diodes, what will happen? It can only allow current flow in one direction only. So it can't flow from opposite direction. Okay. In resistor, it can flow two ways. Okay. In capacitor, it can flow both the direction. But in diodes, it can only flow in only one direction. It can oppose in another, making them perfect for activation, converting AC to DC. So what is the use? So by performing the circuit will flow in only one direction. So it can convert the AC to DC, voltage regulation with GNR diodes by different types of diodes. There is some usage. So for using GNR diodes, we are going to regulate the voltage and light emissions with LED. By using light emission diode, we are going to emit light energy. And transistors are the workhorses of modern electronics. So means nowadays transistor can rule the world. Okay. Acting as electronic switches are amplified. What is the use of transistor? It can be act as a switches, amplifiers, all the things which is going done by the transistor. BJT use current control, while MOSFETs use voltage control. Each situated for different applications. For every different applications, it will done. Okay. Integrated circuit packs the. What is the meaning of integrated circuit? With single chip, the number of transistors which are placed in a single chip. So millions of trillions of transistors. So multiple of transistors which are present in the IC, we call it as a present in a chip, we call it as a IC. Integrated circuit pack 1000 to billion of transistors in a single chip, enabling everything from simple op-amp to complex microprocessors. They are what have modern computing, smartphones and smart devices possible. By these technologies only now we are facing the, now we are means how can say, we are living the luxurious life, modern life, technological life. Okay. The key is to passively respond to the circuit while active components control and shape it. Most practical circuits need both working together with passive components support the active ones by filtering noise. What it finally says that, so passive components cannot need any external power. It can only shape the what is the energy which is having in the circuit. What the active components done? So it need external power. It can amplify or switching the circuit for any purpose. It can need some external power to doing any further operation on the particular energy, particular signal. Okay. So next I have asked some other question to the AI. What will it give? So difference between the active and passive components. So how to differentiate between these active and passive components. How it is going to be differ? Let's see. Okay. So 1 minute I will erase all the things. Okay, thank you. The core difference is energy behavior and signal control. So the energy behavior, one is need some energy. Means passive component doesn't need any external energy, but active component needs some external energy. Okay. So active and passive. Coming to passive doesn't need any, no external energy. Okay. So need external energy. Okay. So passive components cannot introduce net energy into the circuit. Means it can't generate any type of energy into the circuit. They only consume, store or release the energy. So it can't generate any type of energy to the circuit. It only uses the energy which is present in the circuit. Resistor dissipates energy as a heat. Capacitor and inductor temporarily store it, but none can amplify, generate the signals. So resistor can dissipate the energy, means it can be oppose the flow of current, and inductor and capacitor can store the energy in different type of forms. Okay, but no component will store, no component can amplify, generate the new type of signals. Okay, they don't need external power to function and simply respond to the voltage and current around them. So it doesn't need any doesn't need any external power. It can only respond what are the energy which is present in the circuit. So next one is active components. Coming to the active components, require external power source and can introduce energy into the circuit. So it wants some external power from the external source and also some external response it will give. Means like they let them amplify weak signals into the stronger one, some weak signals into the strong signals, like that switching circuits on and off are generating new signals and dial. So like that. So they need external power and they also generate some new amplified signals. Okay, transistor for example using a small input signal to control much larger output signal by drawing power from an external supply. So like that, coming to the transistor, it needs some external power and it can be work as this on switch or off switch, like that. Another key difference is directionality and control. So in this, between these two, so another difference is like directionality. So passive components are generally bidirectional. So the current flow is in both the directions. So current flow in both the directions. Coming to the active components, so while active components often have directional behavior or control functions. So what will happen means it can only flow in one direction. It can't flow bidirectional. In terms of linearity, passive components typically have a predictable linear relationship between the voltage and current. So if there is a voltage, So if the voltage increases, the current also going to be increased. There is a linearity between the components, between the voltage and the current. So active components introduce non-linear behavior. Coming to the active components, it cannot be linear. So it will be some fluctuations will be there. So can't exactly matches to the signal. Okay. So means according to the voltage, the current is not dependent. It will be non-linearity with the voltage and current. So practically speaking, we need both active components to the heavy lifting. For practically means which is the best one we can't say, because in practical case the both the components are very much important as per the requirement. So practically speaking, we need both active components do the heavy lifting, means like amplifying the signal, switching, processing. For all the things we need active components, while passive components like supporting them. For supporting means there is a if you generate very strongest signal, you have to oppose that one, you have to control the current, you have to control the voltage, you have to store some limited amount. So that time for filtering, biasing, energy storage, impedance matching, all the things we need passive components. A simple amplifier circuit is transistor but need resistors and capacitors to set operating points and filtering signals. So we can take any transistor. So it can amplify the signals very much, very largely without any limit. So what is the use? So there is no use. We have to put some limit. So while increasing also it will little bit damage. So we have to control. We have to put some limit. So both the active and passive components are required to design a circuit. Both have equal amount of advantage. Okay, both the components are required to design a particular circuit. For any design, we need both the components. So electronic students, as electronic students, have to know the components which are present in the electronics. So today what we have discussed, so components in electronics, so different types of components we see. Okay, so then in mostly we prefer passive and active components. So in what is the definition of the passive and active components? What are the examples which are present in those? And we will discuss that. And another topic is like difference. So difference between the passive and active components. These three topics we will discuss in this video. Till now, if you have any doubts, you can comment on it. I will make a small video for that particular doubt. Don't hesitate to ask anything in the comment section. So thanks for watching and thanks for keep supporting me. So in further session, we are going to very long and very depth. Okay, try to follow every video in consequence manner. Means don't miss anything, because if you miss one thing, so next will can't be update. Okay, so thank you. So if you have any doubts, you can comment for it, and thanks for supporting, and then bye.